Hi, I'm Adam Shiva, and in this video I'd like to talk about vulnerability, owning our own desires, and criticism and complaint versus actionable requests. And I think of these as some meta skills that live below and kind of supersede most communication skills, because even if we're communicating in a really gentle way or in a really considerate way, if what we're communicating about doesn't have the right aim and intention, often fulfillment cannot be reached and things really won't be served through more communication. So, in the last 5 years, one of the books that have totally changed my life and that I've read over and over again because of it is Brene Brown's book, Daring Greatly. And in this book, she talks about how the people who are the happiest, the most fulfilled, are those who live a life that's really authentic and vulnerable. And so, how do we integrate more vulnerability into our lives, and why would we do that? Well, the reason why is when you're loved and accepted for something who is actually a mask that isn't authentic for who we are, then actually all that validation of go you has this certain shame to it of go that mask I made that was supposed to be what you liked. It's not really me. Whereas when we show up and trying to be our most authentic self and we're validated in that, we feel welcomed. And maybe it naturally filters out the relationships that align to who we truly are from the ones where the person wasn't ready to accept who we really are. And it kind of allows that fit to our authentic self to be greater. Also, as we live more authentically, there's this ease, this fluidity of, yeah, I'm doing my best to come from my heart. And that doesn't mean we'll never need to change just because we're being authentic, but it means that it's not a facade and a mask and a show that we're likely to throw off as soon as someone isn't looking at us. It means this is where I'm at right now, and I'm trying to move and integrate from a centeredness and from kind of this is what I got. It also allows this habit of, instead of kind of pushing something of, hey, you do this, and we actually can move people really potently by saying, wow, when you did that, that really hurt me. And you just show and allow your hurt to be seen. And that moves the heart of another. And so that really relates to this pattern of complaint versus trying to give someone an actionable request. And so when you're like, hey, I hate it when you do that, stop doing that, a person naturally will kind of lock in and push against that. Resistance meets resistance. Whereas if you say, hey, I really appreciate it when you're there on time, when someone shows up late, it just as effectively tells them don't show up late, but the action actually changes much faster than when it's in the form of complaint. It gives this opportunity for that vulnerable, authentic expression of what we like, and also it allows that other person to want to show up more for us rather than to kind of get into a childish dynamic of you can't tell me what to do. And so the reason why to do that based on the relational research isn't just because it's nicer, but rather because it's just more effective. They say that if you want things to change in the way that you've dreamed, that complaint and criticism is very unlikely to get the results you're dreaming of. So the last piece of this is about owning our own desires and being able to express what we want in a way that is creative and authentic and really personal. So there's certain things that are easy to ask for what we want, but there are often things that are hidden. And often the hidden things, you only can see one or two things that you haven't requested. It's my belief that underneath those, there are more and more things, and only through expressing those pieces will the other things come out. And for me, there's been things that I held back because they're too specific. Hey, could you sit on my thigh while I'm sitting cross-legged and then kind of push up on my chin in a way and kind of talk to me in this particular way about this particular thing, and it'll move a lot of emotions for me, but it was something I had been weirdly connected to and dreaming of. And then as I receive that, there's this flush of embodiment, this kind of trust of the world I live in, and other desires come forth to be experienced through really acting, requesting that. actually, even if it's like needs to be reworked to be what the other person is comfortable with. Also, sometimes they're because of cultural stigmas that it's really hard to ask for what I want. Hey, I really want to come home to a hot meal that's on the table, and then for you to just like serve it up and put it right in front of me, and for me to like eat after a hard day of work, to be nourished in that way. And maybe just once a week, but it really mean a lot to me. But how long did I want to hold that back because the paradigm of masculinity that it represented was so unsettling to me? But when I asked for it, even if I didn't receive it, to just have someone know, to have my partner know how much that mattered to me, and that I'd love to wash extra dishes for this little treat every once in a while. It allowed us to share things that were meaningful to the other. So I hope this is helpful for you. I'd love it if you subscribed and shared this with a friend. Thanks so much for listening to me, and I hope you have a great day.